truly, I am very excited that you guys have decided to do this. So thank you guys for doing this. For those that are going to be watching this, I have Toni and Josh out of Minnesota, and they are very gracious to come on here and talk a little bit and answer my questions and things like that. Toni and Josh have been with us for a hot minute now, both in Kingdom, Axiom, and Ascension. And now we've got to meet each other in person several times for the events. And it's been amazing to see the transformation you guys have gone through personally and in your business. So guys, welcome. Thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it. So first question that I have for you guys is, before you joined Ascension, what were the biggest hurdles or problems that you were seeing or feeling in jumpstarting your real estate investing?
The biggest thing for us was we had been reading everything and listening to as many podcasts as we could, and not being able to see the leap from the knowledge that we had to that first step. And we tried looking at properties, we tried finding properties, but none of our numbers ever worked out. And we just couldn't figure out for the longest time why we could never find anything with the numbers working.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest thing.
Yeah. I think from my perspective, it was, we didn't know what we didn't know. And so like we had set really aggressive goals for ourselves, but didn't know what that first step would look like. Didn't know, didn't know how to break it down in small enough chunks for us to be able to digest, which is why I think all the deals didn't work.
Sure.
I think it just was you in analysis paralysis or whatever on there.
Yeah.
And then by the time maybe one did work, it's too far going on or other things. And I think the other thing too, for me, I didn't realize it until looking back now that I realized that it was, I realized like the biggest hurdle was myself. I thought I needed somebody else to do it with me or with us. Needed, just somebody to like I partnered with my dad. Yeah. Okay. He'd like, that was like, okay, he's done real estate stuff before, we're going to break through, and that's just going to start us off. And, found stuff, and none of it worked out. None of it.
Pretty click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the wholesaling for wholesalers and all either. And it wasn't until we recognized that people were buying properties off market, which is how they were making things work, that we started recognizing that. Well, I mean, Jordan told Josh about wholesaling and how he was making his money. And I remember that day when he explained it all to me, and I was like, well, that sounds illegal, which I realized is exactly what everybody else would think. And then I read Todd's book when Jordan sent it to us, and I was like, actually, this makes a lot of sense, and we could definitely do this. And that's when there was a big shift in our real estate journey of researching things differently than we had up until that point.
Sure. That's awesome. What was the process that, I mean, you have this problem, you have these hurdles that you're going through. At some point you made the decision to come into Ascension. What did that decision-making process look like for you guys?
Yeah. So,
miles already.
kind of a long journey because we started out, Todd's book, learning about wholesaling. We actually joined Axiom first, and, Toni was all in 100%.
Financially, Axiom was a big leap for us.
Yeah. Right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, that was the first step in the journey to Ascension. And so Axiom, in my opinion, it didn't strike a chord with me, first of all, I just didn't think wholesaling was like, that's not where I thought I would be.
It didn't align with the goals that you had.
And you say that now, and we lined up with everything, but no, this is not, and so like, I just wasn't in it, 100%.
Well, I would find all the people, and I was tracking all the KPIs, and I was the one writing the letters and all that. And he helped with like stamping them and stuff, but then he would have to take time off of his W-2 to walk these properties with me because for one, didn't feel safe because we're in Minneapolis and it was during all of the things that were going down. And for two, to look at. And so it really started to be a strain on our family because he had to take the little bit of time that he would have had for the family working on this side business of ours, trying to get up and going. And we realized it was actually doing the opposite of what we were, what our goal was. So wholesaling was a big struggle for us.
Yeah. And so that it kind of like put on the brakes, even with the whole, anything to do with the kingdom. I was just like, well, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to pan out. And then,
so we labeled it kind of.
Yeah, I just kind of labeled it.
Right. Real estate investing as a whole, like Axiom as a whole, like whole.
I was going back to what I knew and running numbers on. Is there anybody I could talk to? So like, pursuing that side of things. And then, Toni, was asking me about whether or not I would go to a board. And,
started asking him in April of 21 to go.
Yeah. And so she kind of wore me down. I don't remember why I said yes or whatever, but I think it's because it was something fun that we were going to do together and, getting away from kids and that kind of thing. So like,
Just try it.
Yeah.
I was making any commitments. I sold my first house within the first month and had more coming. And so I think he saw this new passion ignite within me.
And and I had actually bought his first rental property and it was an on-market one. So I was like, see, they do exist. I mean, we can break that happen.
Because I had my license that we were able to get it in the way that we did.
Right.
And communicate with the other realtor the way that we did. And so I think he was realizing like we could benefit from being in the same room with people who are doing better than us. Because he's always been that way from the moment I met him, was recognizing and wisdom and then getting himself around those people. That's why he married. Same.
And end the interview right there. Mic drop. Thanks for joining everybody.
Hi. And like one side note to that too is like a little bit, I think before when we were in Axiom and doing that sort of thing, there was a little bit like identity crisis. Like I didn't identify Esther because I didn't have and so like there was a little bit of that too. Like, so Toni's now selling real estate. We just bought our first rental and I think that had that kind of like,
he had to qualify.
Yeah. Like the pre-qualification or something.
Yeah. Kind of prove himself a little bit.
Back to your first question of a mental block that I didn't realize that I had, but understanding like I'm still an investor, even if I don't have any real estate, because it's really like what I want to be doing and what I have. And so,
and I always have been like, this is where I belong, no matter where I go. And so I don't blame him for it.
You just got to blend in wherever you go and you're like, I've adopted this.
We were invited, but how did that happen? Like,
yeah, definitely struggle from imposter syndrome from time to time. So, but yeah, and really it comes down to like what your definition of that thing is, because you can say, you can talk to yourself about anything or into anything.
Sure.
So we went to boardroom, and it was not what we thought it was going to be at all, and the funny thing is, I think she got more out of it being the one that wanted to go there than I, and it definitely transformed me too and changed me. But I
personally got more out of it, not so much on the real estate side. I mean, on the real estate side, but it was transformative to me on a personal
level. Sure.
Yep. And so then out of that and the steps and the actions, the information that we took from that to learn, because it was just a freaking fire hose. But from that was the spark that led us towards the Ascension group, and that's how we got there.
Yeah. So a lot of self-reflection, a lot of trial and error, a lot of research, and then coming to an event and experiencing, kind of dipping your toes in the water and experiencing what it's all about.
Yeah. Well, seeing other people who were in the position we were currently in a year ago, and then having them tell us their journey to where they were at. And it was mind-boggling us because we thought, like, go just in that short period of time
Yeah.
by taking these steps. And we took that very much to heart. And not that these people weren't brilliant, because they are, but it was a lot of that, like, well, if you can do it, then we should be able to do it.
Totally.
Especially if we remain within the group.
Yes.
So that was a huge benefit to being in person with these people.
Yeah. So it kind of leads in with what Josh had said about, we went to boardroom and it wasn't what we expected. The next question I had for you was, what was something that surprised you once you were in Ascension?
Yeah, I guess what surprised me most would be like the amount of people that care. It's not just like, because you can get exposure to mentors and different things like that. And so we paid for mentorship before, for other businesses and different things that we've done,
Sure.
investment like that. But good. And we've learned a lot, and they were very valuable to us in our relationship with each other and our marriage and all the things. But there is it's a different level here. It's a different experience. And I guess that what surprised me the most was,
the instant availability of anybody who, whatever question you have, you know exactly who you could direct it to, and they make themselves available to answer what you need. And they've already qualified themselves. And so it just seems so mind-boggling to me that we know if we have a question about notes that we could contact Troy and he's going to get back to us fairly quickly.
Yeah.
All that, just I could go down the line of every single person.
Or even people that aren't mentored, but are killing it. And you can reach out to them and they're a Facebook message away, and half of them would be like, here's my personal number. Text me next time you got a question. I'm like,
you just called somebody from the kingdom or from Ascension, I guess, the other night at 10:30 at night. But you should. I was like, I'm doing this, but
it's not normal. It's not normal. Like, this is not normal in the normal world. Yeah. It makes sense. That's cool. So now that you've been in Ascension for a hot minute, what have been some of the results that you guys have seen personally?
So like we more than doubled all our investments that we were in before. We've seen tremendous, growth in our mindsets and our approach to our business and our life. Just, a level of freedom that I don't think that I had before. I'm still in my W-2 job, but it doesn't hold things over me.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I owe that job.
The level of peace is very different for you.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
That was very evident at the last boardroom. This is a couple of weeks ago. We were together. I'm like, who are you? What have you done with Josh?
Yeah.
This is a little bit Josh.
well, and for many years, I would say for my 7 years, we worked really hard at starting other businesses because we just wanted to work together. And we didn't enjoy them. Either he enjoyed what it was or I enjoyed, but we didn't enjoy it together. And for the first time, we found something that both of us love to do together.
Yeah.
We can talk with each other with our assets that we bring to this business that we've created. And that has brought even more blessing, I guess, to our marriage and to our family. And even though I think we have more on our plate than we ever have, we're actually pausing intentionally to take rest days with our family because we know that if we don't make that an intention now, that it isn't going to happen later, and that we can't keep this full up, which we had been doing 7 days a week before.
Right.
And the other thing was people within Ascension explaining the importance of hiring other people to do things that you can do and taking that to heart. And that was huge for us. And
on that point, I will say the plan that I had made for that first boardroom was a good plan and would have just really slow. Everything was even build and save and build and, traditional lending and just really old fashioned building blocks. And it would have just taken us a really long time to get to where we are now, which
even
is
to where we're at.
6 years later or whatever, it's just it's taken everything and supercharged it, I think is kind of an understatement. And as you get that momentum and you start seeing wins, I feel like it just motivates us more to go find more deals and then repeat and do it again. And
Yeah.
So we were nervous to make that initial investment into Ascension. And
Right.
we saw at Boardroom, we knew that it would be a good investment, if not a good experience. And when we decided to put that investment in, after 6 months, our net worth had grown over 800% in 6 less. And so we're more than willing. You tell the number seems really large if you can stick with it, that this stuff works.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to stick a whole bunch of our extra money or save more and able to get to that point in such a quick time frame, which I've heard people say things like that. And I'm like, there's no way that's
right. Kind of like one of those like, right, got it. And then you're like, oh crap. Okay. Well, that just happened.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, Ascension did seem gigantic. It's like overwhelming to me because I was like, that's my next. Like that. I already had planned to use that for the next one. And we had a plan. That got thrown away pretty quickly. But, what came down to me is like, got enough of a fire hose blast at the Boardroom that I have to view it as actually like, this is actually like tuition. This is tuition. Like, the amount of things that I didn't know came here, like, you can learn those things using this money in the next year, then that would be like a year of school. And with something that I really enjoy and want to do for foreseeable future. So, like that's kind of like how I mentally got over that hurdle in my head. So,
yeah, I remember this, like, where did seed money go? Yeah. That was a big one. I remember having that discussion with, and Todd was pretty, what's the word? Hell, he's pretty Todd. And they're full of the time. It's like, Josh, where does seed money go? And we're all sitting there like, I don't know. I mean, it's like, where does seed money go? Because it's seed? I don't know. Into your stuff. It was like one of those like fire and brimstone moments. Yeah. I was thinking it's good. Yeah, I like that. So go kind of along those same lines of coming into Ascension. What were some of the concerns and the limiting beliefs that you had? I know you just mentioned like the cost. That was one of them. But I think I remember that there was a few other things that needed to be taken into consideration when you guys were coming in.
Yeah. I'd say for the Ascension piece, the big thing was probably the cost, and then also like the amount of time. And I still feel like I'm not giving enough time. There's so much, and there's so many calls and stuff. And I need to be a part more of that. And
we have other commitments that are really important to us, and that we're evaluating and trying to figure out which area we're being called to. And I think that's one thing that Josh doesn't give himself enough credit for too, is all the things that he really is focusing on.
Yes, I agree with that.
It goes back to also like, just not giving yourself enough credit, because I keep trying to remind him of what we have done in the last 6 months and the things that he's learned and the books that he's read, and downloaded a whole nother book on Audible.
I've gone through like 3 books in the last, I was traveling. So it's able to go.
But I mean, like, the shift that you've had in the last 6 months is huge, and you have to give yourself more credit for that. So,
yes. Seriously.
So the question were hurdles of getting into Ascension?
Yeah. The question was, what were the limiting thoughts or the concerns that you had getting into Ascension? It's actually a 2-part question. That's part 1.
Yep. I think my big limiting thoughts, like I said, it was really great hearing what other people did and how they got there. And part of me is like, okay, well, then I think we could do that. A bigger part of me was like, we've tried all these other things and it didn't really work out. So I think that was a big thing for me, is like, I don't think that I could really get to that point of what these people are doing.
Right.
Or even some of the wholesaling stuff. Like we tried that and failed, but we didn't really fail. But
No. Yeah.
the limiting beliefs that came into it of like, we're spending now this much more money on a similar thing is what I thought, but it really isn't. It's not apples to apples. Axiom and Ascension are not apples to apples.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And as you were talking, I think the good way to summarize what the limiting belief was the amount of time it took me to build this money that I'm now going to put into this, seed and into yourself or whatever. But
Yeah.
quickly can I recuperate this? Because it's not a fact of if I can, because I can. It's how long will it take me and how much effort will it take me?
Yeah.
And you climb the hill to this point, and now it's like, I feel like I'm like going back down to pick up again. But really, it's really your building a room for the next climb. You're not actually going back down, especially if you're investing it in. It's like nobody would say you're throwing money away to buy a house, but it may feel like that because you're just constantly paying a mortgage or whatever. But the reality is that is an investment. You're going to live there. You'll make it nicer. It will increase in value. You're not actually up anything. You're actually increasing. And that's it's a jump from renting to buying a house. I would say it's similar to like that. Like, sure. Yeah.
I like that.
But if you're renting, that's a bad analogy. It's going to come.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
That those limiting beliefs take a long time to get over. And I think there's multiple experiences that need to be had in order to really conquer that. Are well below on our personal resident. And they quoted us to be around $5,000 and like it ruined my whole day. And I was just, my kids were like, are you ever going to be happy again? Like I was really mean on it.
One of those days, what you mean?
Like he knew going to be really stressing about it. And he's like, we've been in this position before. It's going to be fine. And then when he hung up, I started thinking about it and I was like, we have not ever been in this position. We have the money to run the checks tomorrow. Just that's not where money go.
Right.
6 months ago, we would not have had the cash. Well, maybe 10 months ago, we would have not had the cash on hand. We would have to finance it somehow or put it on a credit card, or it just was not the same experience. And then after I went to apologize to all of my children and the neighbor kids, I realized like I'm more grateful for really where we're at as well. But it was again that mindset of lack that even though the lack wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah. So what along those lines, this is the second part of the question is what would you say to someone who is ready for the next level, just like you guys were, and is experiencing some of those same thoughts and feelings?
One of the things that Todd said to me when I said that I didn't think we were ready, he said, well, good thing you're not the one that gets to decide that. And I really held on to that because all of these people who are some of them 100x where you're at, look at you and say you're ready, then you really need to trust that they see in you what it takes to grow. Because this isn't a position or a community that is just open arms and lets everybody in. It's really
right. No, it's more.
Everybody who they encounter, every single one of them will.
Yes.
What a person who is not in a position to invest in themselves into this community. They just won't do it. And it's because of the love that they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they see something in you that you're ready to upgrade, then you just have to trust them.
Yeah. And trust yourself. If they see it, you need to trust that it can come out of you and that you can actually
believe in yourself. And I think having somebody else believe in me is what really pushed me to where we're at now.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Well, the last question I had for you guys was what's next for you guys in your business? What's the next level? Everything. We're buying the Taj Mahal. We're going to travel the world.
Yeah. So next steps, probably, we are really rapidly approaching me leaving my W-2 position. Both of us being at that place where we want it to be, which is working together side by side, finding deals, creating deals, creating creative solutions. And, and I don't really know what's next. Everything's been a discovery, and that's what's awesome about it. You could set a goal, and 6 months later, crumple that goal up and throw it away because, I've hit part of it and I realized it's actually not where I need to be. And so I'll pivot and then we'll move towards something else, which has been even bigger and more of a blessing. Set a goal there so
I think we realized even more so just in this last week with everything we've discussed that we're done trying to decide what's next because it just kind of wastes our time. And instead of next, say, what is our dream? Like, what do we want our life to look like? We start talking about what we want our life to look like, and then we start where we're at, and we don't really make these steps ahead. We go against everything that everybody tells them and everything that we've done for a long time.
Yeah.
Because we feel like for us, in our personality and the way that we work together as a team and in our marriage, is that if we set these big goals, there's a lot of disappointment along the way when we're not where we think we need to be in the way. Then, like Josh said, giving ourselves permission to tear up our plan.
Yes.
And even being able to revise the plan has needed to take place and to the point now that we're like, we just know what our dream is together. And that ultimate goal is being together as a family and raising our kids side by side as much and many hours as we can with them.
Yeah.
If this next step right here doesn't lead us to that, then we don't do it. Instead of making a long plan of putting out goals and dreams, I guess, if that makes sense.
I have goosebumps right now.
It has nothing to do with property or dollars or anything.
No.
We know that.
Yeah.
So the big dream is the family. And the big dream is that anytime God sends, we need to get this amount, that we can just go, there we go.
Or you need to go somewhere. We want to be able to give and go.
And go.
So that's actually a lot. It means reducing yourself down to a lot less. You can't really go when you've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Or if you're not willing to give things away, because if you gotta go, then you gotta give. Because it's like if you need to move quickly, you just gotta give, and be in a place where that's want to be able to give and go.
Yeah, that's awesome. But it's like Todd says, you guys haven't officially adopted the infinite game, right? Like he talks about that, and talk about that a lot actually. Especially at Upper Room, but that's a conversation for another time. But with the infinite game, like you're adopting it as a lifestyle. And like you said, like it's not just, we have to hit this goal now, this goal. It's okay. We have this dream, we have this vision for our life, and now we are pursuing that. And it's for the rest of our life. It's how we live now. And it changes everything. Like people that might be watching this are like, wait, what? The infinite game? Don't worry, you'll get it. I'm an Ascension. Anyway. But guys, seriously, I am so incredibly proud of you. It's been an honor and a privilege to be able to walk alongside you and be able to watch the transformation that you guys have gone through. And I know that this is only the beginning, and lots of big things that you guys have in the works now and is going to come in the future.
Yep.
Thanks for being willing to spend some time and chat and answer some of my questions. These videos really help people, whether they join one of our programs or not. As you guys know, like Toni, I think you said it great of just, we love everybody we come into interaction with, and whether you join us or not, like that's kind of dependent upon if you're fit or not, that we want to empower as many people as possible, because the vision is to end financial suffering. And you can only do that if you're giving off those vibes, So thank you guys for being a pillar and for being a light that gives off those vibes. So thank you very much for your time, guys. I love you, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Yeah, you too, Lou.
Thanks.
All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed what you just heard and I hope you got value out of it. If you would like to continue the conversation and see if you might be a good fit for our community, there's a waitlist down below. Check it out. We'll get in touch with you as soon as we can. Have a great day.